Hi golfers, Nick here from GOLFTEC Singapore. It's Friday, so welcome to another lesson on golf tips. This week on golf tips, we're going to take a look at another swing true motion study that we've done here at GOLFTEC. So over the years, GOLFTEC have measured thousands of golf swings from high handicappers to tour players, and we've correlated the chart based upon how the body moves. Today we're going to take a look at the shoulder tilt at P7. So for me to explain that before we get into this video, if you take a look at, say, the golfer setup, his shoulder angle here is actually going to be, for the tour players, around 11 degrees to the right. So as the tour players set up, their shoulders are slightly tilted on the angle, partly to do with the way they hold the golf club with the right hand lower than the right. However, we're going to take a look at P7. So at GOLFTEC here, we've measured the golf swing in 9 different positions and we've correlated these charts. So P1 would be the setup position, so you'd have the shoulders at 11 degrees to the right. However, at P7, which is impact, the shoulders will actually be tilted on a steeper angle, and the tour players would be 39 degrees to the right at P7, which is impact. We're also going to take a look at how the shoulders tilt from down the line as well. So this is viewing the golfer down the line. In the backswing, the tour players would actually turn these shoulders 36 degrees to the left. So what you're going to notice today is that the shoulder tilt angle is going to change through the swing. So the angle you turn the shoulders on will be different at different points of the swing. So at setup, you've got the shoulders tilted to the right. In the backswing, they're going to tilt to the left. Impact, they're going to go to the right again, and then there'll be a slight right tilt. So we would call this P4, which is top of the backswing, and then a slight right tilt around 9 degrees to the right at P9, which is the finish position. So we're going to take a look at these different positions. So we've got P1, we're expecting around 11 degree shoulder tilt to the right. And then at P7, which is what the study's done on today, we're going to expect somewhere around 39 degrees to the right. In the backswing, we look at 36 degrees to the left, and then in the finish, 9 degrees to the right. So we're going to take a look at these different positions and explain why the shoulders change their tilt at different points. So as you can see, I've got the motion sensors hooked up to me, so we're going to test it out. I'm going to hit 2 shots, one with my sort of normal golf swing, trying to recreate sort of the pro tilts, and then I'm going to do one and test out sort of like a high handicapper swing, see what the difference is. So before I hit these 2 golf shots, I just want to show you guys on the screen how these sensors move. So if you take a look at the screen here, I've brought up the shoulder tilt angle on the right hand screen. So as I set up, you see that's around 8-9 degrees to the right. So that's basically my shoulders tilted at this angle, partly to do with my right hand sitting lower on the club. Now in the backswing, we're going to look at P4 today as well as P7. You'll see how this shoulder tilt changes to a leftward tilt. So as I set up, I'm around 9 degrees to the right, which you can see in the right hand screen. You're best viewing this from 90 degrees to my shoulder turn. So at setup, it's best looking at the front screen on the right, and then in the backswing, you want to look at the left hand screen. So I'm moving 38 to the left. So the tour players turn their shoulders roughly on a 36 degree angle in the backswing. However, coming down into the downswing, as I start down, you'll see how this leftward tilt starts to become a rightward tilt. So then by the time I come into impact here, I'm around 39 degrees to the right. So my shoulders are tilted even more than they were at setup. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One is to do with my hip slide. So me moving my hips forward, tilting my shoulders like this, is helping me keep my inclination to the ground, or the head in the circle if you like. Also it's partly to do with, as I'm striking with my hands forward here, the butt of the club starts to raise as this left shoulder lifts up. So this left shoulder is higher than my right as I go through impact here. At roughly P6, which is here, when the shaft's parallel to the ground, this is probably the lowest point of the butt of the club. You can look at this on the video, but that butt of the club will start to raise. And then into the finish, as I get into roughly right on parallel, I'm going to have somewhere around about 40-something degree shoulder tilt here, as you can see on the left. And then by the time I finish my swing, I'm going to have around 8-9 degrees of shoulder tilt in the finish. So you see me explain there how this sense on the back of my shoulder moves in relationship to the tilt at these different positions in the swing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit 2 shots. The first one will be like a no tilt swing, so I'm going to swing back and try and turn more sort of level with my shoulders to the ground. And then the second one will be like the pro tilt swing, where I try and turn more on the angle. Then we're going to sit down afterwards, take a look at those 2 swings, see what the difference is. So first up, let's go for the no tilt swing. So this is me turning more, shoulders level to the ground. Okay, so actually a pretty good golf shot there. The one thing I would say about that swing was it didn't feel that I had much control over it. Now, in practice I've hit a few shots and not hit them all as good as that, but let's try out the pro tilt swing now. So now I'm going to try and turn these shoulders on a steeper angle, see what happens to the shot, and then we're going to take a look at the two videos. So this one I'm trying to move these shoulders more, left shoulder more down, right shoulder more down in the finish. So pretty good shot as well. Main difference there, similar sort of ball flight, both of them sort of little push draws. Main difference there really is the distance. That second one carried a good 20-30 meters longer, so not only was the tilt swing longer, it did feel more controlled. So let's sit down now and take a look at those two swings. So you saw the two shots there. So the first one, pretty good shot considering. I did a few test shots before and the contact wasn't as good as that one, but I hit a good shot there on the camera. However, the second one did carry an extra 25 yards further, similar sort of ball flight. So let's take a look at the swing. So first of all, we're going to take a look at face on. So you can see here, as I set up, the shoulder tilt angle is like 14 degrees with both of these swings. So it's the same at setup. So on the left, this was the first shot hit. So you can see how the head moves outside of that circle. So this is to do with the shoulder tilt angle, which will be better viewed from down the line, which we'll look at in a second. I just wanted to show you this. Now coming into the downswing, this shoulder tilt angle, you'll see how it goes from left to right. So by the time we hit the golf ball here, it's moved into a rightward tilt. So the one on the left here is only 18, the one on the right is 27, so more shoulder tilt going through with the pro swing on the right there, and then coming through into the finish. As we get into right arm parallel, again you can see the shoulder tilt angle still green for the pro swing and it's gone to yellow on the high handicapper swing, and also you'll notice how that head has moved again outside of the circle. So you can see how the head's moved forward here as I've gone through, and as I go through into the finish position, I have a rightward tilt in the finish as compared to a leftward tilt with the high handicapper swing. So we're going to look at this from the other viewpoint as well, because I think this can be quite useful. So if you take a look at the swing from down the line, you'll see in the backswing, when I turn my shoulders on that steeper angle like the tour players do, so I'm turning my shoulder, that left shoulder more downwards, that's helping me keep the head in the circle. It helps me keep my inclination to the ground, it helps my consistency, it helps me hit the ground, it helps with my low point control. You can see on the left there, the head, not only did it move away from the target, we looked at the face on view, it's also lifted up as well. So when I'm turning my shoulders more level to the ground, it's pulling my head away from the circle, it's losing my inclination to the ground, it's losing my control in the golf swing. So as we go down, we're going to see these change into a rightward tilt, but not quite as much on the left here. And again, head's more in the circle with the pro swing. As we go into right on parallel, you'll see again, we saw this from the other viewpoint, how the head had moved forward. It's now quite a long way outside of the circle, almost half my head's outside the circle on the left there. And then as I go into the finish position, again you can see how I've maintained my shoulder tilt here, sort of 14 degrees to the right in the finish there. Quite interesting, obviously as I set up I was 14 degrees to the right, as I finished I was 14 degrees to the right, but throughout the golf swing, to keep my head in that circle, I'm having to turn my shoulders on an angle. So in the backswing we have the leftward tilt, and then in the follow through we have the rightward tilt. So he's progressively changing at these different points in the swing, and just going back to the point earlier I was saying about why this happens and why the tilt changes, not only for the inclination to the ground, it's also, if we take a look at the face on view here, just switched it round to face on view. I just want to show you another key position here in the swing. So we have the leftward tilt in the backswing. As we go down, we're moving gradually towards this rightward tilt, but if I stop the swing at this point here, this is where the shaft is parallel to the ground. Okay, this is the point where the butt of the club, so I'm going to spot this, sort of the butt of the club here is at the lowest point to the ground. If I move on a frame, you see how this butt of the club starts to raise here. So even though I had my hands forward as I hit through, the butt of the club is raising. That's partly to do with my shoulder as well. So if I now spot the shoulder, You see how that is progressively moving upwards as well. So as I'm going through that rightward tilt, it's moving this left shoulder upwards, raising the butt of the club, and that sort of shallows out the strike as well. So not only does that rightward tilt help raise the butt of the club into the finish, it also accommodates the hip sway as well. So when you look at the best golfers, they're actually moving their hips towards a target, and maintaining this rightward tilt actually helps you keep your inclination to the ground to help with sort of low point control and consistency. So I thought there's quite a few key points there to see how these shoulders turn, not only for sort of controlling the swing and the head position, but it's also to control the angle of attack as you hit into the ball. So golfers, if you've got any questions on that, post them in the box below. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. If you don't already, please follow me on my other social media platforms, and we'll see you again soon for another video on golf tips.